The following is a special presentation of Fox 13 News.
Hello and welcome to the National Mall here in our nation's capital. This is where we remember and honor our veterans on this Veterans Day. Hi there, I'm Mark Wilson and welcome to Fox 13 Salutes. We're going to start with a group of veterans who made a very special trip here to visit all the war memorials. And yes, there are not many World War II veterans left anymore these days. There are a handful, though, from the Tampa Bay area who made a trip here recently to remember. Mission 47 of Honor Flight West Central Florida. 74 veterans reporting for duty. Destination D.C. and the war memorials standing in their honor. Among them, one who served in all three, 97-year-old Fred Jenkins. A flight mechanic on the B-58 nuclear fighter, he survived a kamikaze attack on the USS Stafford and numerous close calls in Korea and Vietnam. So many people have sacrificed for this nation, and that was never a question for you, huh?
No, we all volunteered. And it's kind of the motto of a soldier, a real one. You go towards the danger.
And returning from war each time, no parade, no thanks, not even a welcome home.
Even with my own family, you know, they didn't appreciate what I'd done.
Virtually every other veteran told me the same. Which is why they so desperately wanted to be part of this, starting with a front row seat for the changing of the guard at the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Next, the World War II memorial. 95-year-old Adam Gambardella wanted to make sure he found Okinawa, his site of service.
Someday I'd like to get back there, but I'm running out of time.
You still got time. You're doing good.
Third row.
And there are hundreds on a waiting list for a trip like this. In fact, these veterans have been on a list since 2016. You know who's not on a list, though? There's not a list at all for guardians. There's a desperate need for those who would accompany each of these vets. This is Felicia Freilich's second mission. Every guardian I've spoken to said how rewarding this is to be a part of this.
Absolutely. That's what I said. It's more of a blessing to me probably than it even is to Fred, and I know he's loving it. Aww.
David Stove's guardian helped him find not one, but 18 names at the Vietnam War Memorial. All of them close comrades he lost in the Tet Offensive.
Just filled with emotion about it all. It means a lot to me, and the fact that everybody is so kind and nice. You know, we didn't get that when we came home.
Only this homecoming was a chance to get it right.
Fred Jenkins.
Letters for each, from family, from strangers. All from the heart.
Welcome home, sir. Thank you for your service.
It's a great day for America.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.
People are wonderful.
Thank you.
Welcome home, soldiers, and thank you for your service. And if you are interested in being a guardian on one of these amazing flights, just go to fox13news.com and we'll show you how you can sign up and volunteer if you wish. Still ahead on Fox 13 Salutes this Veterans Day, remembering 50 years since our last U.S. troops came home from Vietnam. They didn't get the respect they deserved, but now our country honors them decades later. Welcome back to Fox 13 Salutes, coming to you on location from Washington, D.C., here now at the National Vietnam War Memorial. Can you believe it's 50 years this year that the last of our U.S. troops came home from Vietnam? This was a conflict that was greatly misunderstood. Fox 13's Craig Patrick now introduces us to those who struggled to fight it and just recently gained the respect of this great nation.
This is U.S. intelligence posing with a man the United States armed and trained to lead Vietnam's independence movement. His name was Ho Chi Minh. Years later, he led the communist takeover that more than 58,000 American troops died trying to stop.
Yes, it's political irony.
Young Americans like John McGee volunteered to fight communism. It had already spread through Eastern Europe and China and North Korea, and had delivered tyranny and starvation, mass murder, and threats to take over the world.
Khrushchev came to the United Nations when I was a little boy, took his shoes off and slammed his shoes, saying, "We will bury you."
As Ho Chi Minh embraced communism, took over North Vietnam and marched south, Americans strongly supported sending troops to advise and support South Vietnam.
2/3 of the men who served in Vietnam were volunteers.
And then it rapidly escalated when President Johnson claimed North Vietnam attacked U.S. forces in the Gulf of Tonkin on August 4th, 1964.
By a number of hostile vessels attacking 2 U.S. destroyers with torpedoes.
Didn't happen. There was no such attack that day. But like the false claims of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, it drove a surge of Americans into war. And in Vietnam, volunteers were no longer enough. President Johnson reinstated the draft.
Now I'm about like a little kid. I get on the bus and go to crying.
James Little said he ate a bar of soap to try to flunk his physical.
Swallowed the soap.
It did not work.
Dude say, see that trailway bus over there, man? You go in there and get a carton of that milk and get you a sandwich, and you get your butt on that bus. You know what we need. We need you.
The Johnson administration told the public we were winning.
This is a terrible thing we're getting ready to do.
And in private said something very different.
I don't think it's worth fighting for, and I don't think we can get out. And it's just the biggest damn mess. It is. It's an awful mess.
China loaded the communists with AK-47s, while the U.S. gave our troops the M16, which was known to fail.
It seems that the excessive firing through the 16 will cause it to jam after a certain period of time.
And our government tracked success by kill ratios rather than taking land. For example, 72 Americans died and 372 were wounded capturing Hamburger Hill, which our military then abandoned for having, quote, no military value whatsoever.
We weren't taking any ground and holding it. We were just looking for body counts, like they said.
Plus, the South Vietnamese government we were fighting for was autocratic, rife with corruption, and constantly changing through a series of coups.
It was hard to keep up with. Who are we protected now? Who's the people that are in charge?
And in jungle guerrilla warfare, it can be hard to distinguish friends from enemies.
We had them working for us in our base camp, doing jobs, and you didn't know if they were Viet Cong or not.
Billy Berkey loaded heavy artillery that weighed more than he did.
Sometimes we made mistakes. Sometimes we bombed a place that there were civilians in and we didn't realize it.
He said the mistakes did not happen a lot.
No, I think it was very few things like that that happened.
But images like this one of a girl burned by napalm, and this one of a captured enemy being executed by our allies. The growing number of Americans killed in action fired up the anti-war movement.
And I think it got to a lot of the guys over there that were fighting and said, why are we here?
And while the communist Tet offensive failed in battle, it succeeded in turning more Americans against the war.
Like the more we kill them, the more they come back.
How many firefights did you get in which you were greatly outnumbered?
Every one of them.
Dozens?
Yeah.
And then the Pentagon Papers leak revealed how our government misled the public, and how President Nixon secretly expanded bombings into Laos and Cambodia. Our troops came home to a hostile reception.
Then when I got out, man, and then the people won't give me no job, man. Oh, you went to Vietnam. Oh, we're not hiring no Vietnam people.
Even his employer before the war turned him away.
And then when I went there to this job, the people started calling me baby killers.
Of course, the big one was a baby killer. The baby killers are killing babies.
Many, like Billy Berkey, also suffered from the defoliant called Agent Orange, now known to cause cancer.
We used to watch the planes fly over and spread.
And suffer from PTSD. That's the smoke from incoming bullets. There's a young Billy Berkey unwisely turning his back to it.
I came as close as you can without dying. One round grazed my hair.
Nowadays, he doesn't like to turn his back on much of anything.
I haven't been out at nighttime to eat in probably 10 years. And I don't like turning my back on doors, because you never know.
Many suffered from PTSD for decades without benefits.
Then they get the bodies, man, and pile them up, and then dig a hole and pour them in. Now, that was crazy. Every morning I wake up with it. Every morning, man.
But then, after years of neglect, America had a big change of heart.
Because the attitude of the country has changed.
We cheered and respected veterans of future conflicts, including the unpopular war in Iraq, thanks in part to the Vietnam vets.
Vietnam veterans are the guys who established the Operation Welcome Homes across the country. We weren't going to let that happen to these guys, what happened to us.
And along the way, America began to distinguish the troops who led from the politicians who misled, and realized Vietnam veterans deserve our respect.
When I wear my baseball caps that say Vietnam vet, people my age, 99% of them say, thanks for serving. I appreciate what you did. Because they're respecting the person, not what happened over there.
It made me feel good, you know, being able to say, hey, man, thank you for serving. Now, that means a lot to me. That means I don't want them to never forget that, man, you know.
Coming up next, remembering our POWs with bracelets. See how a Tampa Bay area couple reached out to Fox 13, and we helped them make a special connection with family members of the missing. We want to recognize our veterans working here at Fox 13. Information Systems Manager Felix Severino, 20 years in the U.S. Marine Corps. Digital Sales Manager Monique Adams, 4 years in the U.S. Navy. Chief Photographer John Wright, 4 years U.S. Army. Photographer Coy Hobson, 3 years U.S. Marine Corps. Graphics designer Julie Cowan, 4 years in the U.S. Navy. Promotions editor Bill Malik, 6 years in the U.S. Navy. And in electronics graphics, Richard Gill, 10 years in the U.S. Air Force. Thank you all for your service. Welcome back to Fox 13 Salutes on this Veterans Day, coming to you on location from our nation's capital, here at the National Vietnam War Memorial. You know, many, many decades ago, many Americans bought bracelets, and they wore those bracelets with a POW's name on them, wore them every day so they'd never be forgotten. Well, recently, a Tampa Bay area couple reached out to Fox 13 for a little help. They decided after all these years, it was finally time to return those bracelets to somebody who'd really appreciate them the most. More than bracelets, they were bonds. Bonds born between strangers. Distant, but deep. On Donna's wrist, Staff Sergeant James Ray. Donald carried the memory of a Lieutenant William Reich. And you guys wore those?
Yes, for many, many years. Many years. 30 years plus.
The luster may have eventually faded, but never their wonder. What happened in those prison camps? The humiliation, the treatment, the torture. Did they ever make it home?
It gets me, yeah, I'm sorry.
Names without faces, forever etched into their inquisitive minds and patriotic hearts.
Hi, Jim. How you doing?
Hi, Bob.
Donald watched in May as we reunited a long-lost medal with the soldiers' grateful family.
I took both of them, and that's when I mailed them to you with a letter saying, you know, can you help us?
Donald wrote me that he'd love for Lieutenant Reich to have his bracelet back, and if he had the chance...
Well, first, I'd like to thank him for the service that he did. I probably want to hug the guy and give him a kiss, I'll tell you that.
Wow, he's alive. We found William Reich in Missouri. An F-4 fighter pilot, he was shot down in 1972 and spent 11 months in the infamous Hanoi Hilton as a prisoner of war. How are you, sir? He told me after his release he finished his service many years later, retiring as lieutenant colonel, and that he'd love for us to connect him with Donald. So we did.
Well, Mr. Rogers, good afternoon.
Sir, I salute you first of all. Thank you. It's good to see you. I've worried about you for years, wondering how you were, where you were, and how things were It's terrific. I tell you, this is something. I'm overwhelmed.
Well, I appreciate it too. I appreciate all those people who took the time and effort to remember somebody that you didn't know, total stranger.
It's so good to see you. I'm sure we will be in contact with each other.
Once again, Mr. Rogers, thank you.
As for James Ray, Donna knew his story would be different. They took a trip to the Vietnam War Memorial in D.C. years ago, only to find his name on the wall. Turns out James died in captivity and never reached his 21st birthday.
You didn't know before you went to the wall.
We had no idea.
Oh.
I did find James's sister, who remarkably lives nearby in Port Charlotte.
When I saw his name on the wall, it was just like, oh, it was like I lost my own son. And all I could think about was his family and what you must be going through.
You don't know how much we appreciate that.
I'm going to make sure that you get Jim's bracelet, and I'm really sorry that we lost him.
It's just, it's so nice of you, Donna, to even think about us. We thank you for all the years you've thought about my brother.
Well, you're not that far away.
I know.
Strangers no more, as their bond only grows. Now that after holding on to a half-century of hope, they can finally let go. You know, navigating government agencies can be difficult for anybody. That's why some retired veterans have gotten together to help their band of brothers find the vets the services they need. These veterans stay busy volunteering at the Disabled American Veterans Office in Crystal River.
On any given day, we'll have anywhere from 6 to 10 veterans in here looking for assistance. We'll deal with a dozen or more phone calls.
They help disabled vets navigate through the red tape of the VA.
It's a federal agency. It's loaded with regs and rules and forms, and it's our job to help the veteran wade through that.
The United States government is responsible for their injuries, and they're responsible to pay them through the VA for their injuries.
They're the only DAV in the area.
There's nothing around here. I think we're the only DAV chapter with service officers between Tallahassee and Tampa on the West Coast.
Thank you very much. Money's always tough, so they depend on the community to help raise funds to keep the chapter open. Businesses like the Breakfast Station restaurant have stepped up. They just helped raise $9,500.
We wanted to make sure that we could do our part to help out the men and women that fought for our freedom. I wouldn't be able to do this today if it wasn't for veterans.
Just love raising money, helping out. People come to me all the time and say, hey, Coconut, I need this, I need that. So off I go.
For retired Seaman Joe Carlton, it's therapy.
It makes me feel like in some small manner I'm still serving my country, even though it's through my veterans, our veterans.
Veterans on a mission to help their comrades get the services they need. Up next, a Bay Area teen honoring those who served with what started out as a DIY project is now lifting spirits and healing patriotic hearts. Welcome back to Fox 13 Salutes, coming to you on location from Washington, D.C. We're back now with a local man, a young man who is using his caring hands and his patriotic heart to help vets get the help they need.
Growing up, my mother actually used to be homeless, and it really changed her life. So every year, she'd bring us to go and feed the homeless at a food pantry, especially around Christmas time. And that's where I met that homeless Vietnam War veteran who changed my life. So going through into the summer of 8th grade, my father really wanted me to be productive, a little DIY project, and so I saw a Go Army ad because I always wanted to join the military. And I decided to really do something to help that homeless veteran, so I made something like this, what I call the heroic flag. And my brother saw it, so of course I had to make him one. The neighbors saw me work and they wanted one. And so that's when my dad pointed out that I could really do something bigger than myself. I started back 2020, 2021, an organization called Give a Buck. And its main idea is that if every individual, every adult gave $1 a week for 1 year, $52, we'd have over $10 billion, which is more than enough to build something that I call a veteran campus, much like a military base or college campus, where these veterans can all be together, grow, overcome any differences and struggles, and they'll have everything they need, all essential services. So I make different flag sizes, and that's how I sell them. On my website, doesn't matter the style, I make a whole bunch of different ones. It's based off the flag size. And so each one is priced at a rate, so that way I can pay for the materials, and then from there, pay for the hours, and then after that, all the profits, everything else goes straight to Give a Buck. I'm able to talk and work one-on-one with homeless veterans. You know, weekly checkups, daily checkups, and I really understand what they're going through more, considering, of course, I'm not a veteran myself. My mother and father have always been a big influence. My dad pushing me to be better and always trying something new, constantly taking on new challenges. My dad never lets me forget that if you aim low and hit, it's worse than aiming high and missing.
Remarkably, he's already raised $30,000 for veterans. Go to fox13news.com if you'd like to help him out, and we will show you how. Well, that's going to do it for Fox 13 Salutes. I'm Mark Wilson on location in Washington, D.C. Thanks so much for joining us, and thank you to each and every one of you who serve this great nation.